to see a united Sierra Leone where we can work for the betterment of the country. We do not want to celebrate 2 years of His Excellency, and we still talk about elections issue. We still talk about who won an election or who does not won an election. So we let them move forward. But if we must move forward, our institutions must be very, very committed in doing this. When you look at the tripartite committee, most of the recommendations has to do with institutional issues, especially the ECSL. So that is to say, now moving forward, the ECSL has a very great role to play in all of those things. If you are talking about electoral reforms, if you are talking about want to reform our electoral process, the ECSL plays integral role in all of those things. And even when you look at the tripartite committee, all of what they were doing, the ECSL has a role to play. And to some point, the APC had to step down of the process. They had to sit back. Yeah. And it was only when and not when our international mediators came in and they were able to engage them, and that they also joined the process again. And all of that was surrounded around the ECSL not actually cooperating with the process. So even with the implementation of the 80 recommendations of the tripartite committee, institutions that plays integral role in the electoral process are very key towards supporting the process, because if they do not support the process, there's no way we can able to achieve what we want to achieve at the end of the day. So I think it's crucial, and this is a point that we are calling on them, for them to play their own role in ensuring that whatever thing that they're supposed to do that will ensure that we have a formidable and a constructive electoral process, a reformed one that going to 2028 elections will not have issues about data again. We will not have somebody that will say, okay, calling RF form data as classified information. It pains my heart when we hear all of those things, because go to the Right to Access Information Act. Read the act of itself. It tells you what a classified data is, what is said to be a classified information, and what is said not to be a classified information. So for me, I see that statement as a mediocre statement to say RFM are classified information. It definitely, for me, it pains my heart when I hear the ECSL in their letter replying to the APC saying that these are classified information. And it's only when we have institutions in this country that are committed, that are ready to work for the interest of this country, then we'll move away from all of those things, or all of these issues that we are having currently. Okay. And like I said, these recommendations are there. 80. The implementation is key. If we do not implement them, we'll still be turning around within the same circle. 2028 election will come again. After the election again, we'll still have issues. We still have people who will say these elections are not credible, and this election is it lacks transparency and everything. So I think it's very, very good that the recommendations are there, but the implementation is very key.
All right, let me come back to you. His name is Fode Moriba Conte. He's a journalist and a youth activist. A reminder as well that he's listening to the top stories on Rise Radio 96.3 FM, where we look at some major stories of the week in the country. And I am Musa by Sise. I have my reviewers today. BW Bokari, well, his name officially is Bobo Wilson Bokari, managing editor, Unity newspaper, as well as Bobodin Kamara. Bobodin Kamara is a journalist and a media analyst. So Bobodin, let me come over to you now. You actually met us discussing the recent statement of the former presidential candidate of the All People's Congress, and is also the leader, Dr. Samura Kamara. And you must have heard of that statement. You must have listened to some part of it. But among other things he said in that address is that they still believe they have no clear evidence to show that they lose the election in 2023. And as a matter of fact, he also mentioned they are calling for a rerun of election to be conducted by ECOWAS in this case. So, and I was asking we are talking a lot of this 1 year after election, and after so many efforts have been made, national unity agreement, the tripartite committee has worked, reports is out, recommendations are there, and these statements are still coming from the leader of the main opposition, All People's Congress Party. Where is this taking us as a country? I mean, we've had, like Bokari was saying, we've had issues all over elections across the country from day one, but then, to the best of my knowledge, those issues have not lasted this long. So we keep wondering, when will this end, in fact? Where will this take us?
Well, this clearly shows that the issue we are having in this country is with ECSL. Reason being is, let's take, for example, this 2023 elections, right? The allegations against the ECSL didn't only emanate from the main opposition party, but national and international accredited elections observation mission, right? They totally discredit the work of the ECSL, saying that there are a series of mathematical impossibilities. When we say mathematical impossibilities, it simply means that no matter how you try to add up those figures, right, it will never give you a definite view. So that statement is coming from the EU elections final report. And the tripartite committee, first of all, we have to look at the mandate. Why was this committee established? Right? To examine the irregularities of 2023 and other elections in Sierra Leone. That's the baseline. And according to the TOR, it was also stated that actions will be taken in the form of recommendation to the president for whosoever found wanting for undermining the electoral process in 2023 and other elections. Now, we have 80 recommendations, right? Purely on electoral reform. None has to do with the accountability aspect. So which means this plethora of accusation levied on not only Mohamed Kone but other past electoral commissioners, including the ECSL as an institution, they are here to validate or discredit these claims, right? Let's take, for example, the 2007 and 2012 elections. The SLPP and President Bill were of the opinion that the cancellation of Kailan Court-Barry was unjustifiable, right? And they were also of the opinion that in 2012, counting was in progress at the time the election results were announced. And even in this 2023, we had such statements. So this has to tell you that the ECSL integrity has been declined over the years. There is a loss of integrity in the institution because 6 of any 10 Sierra Leoneans will tell you that they have issue with the ECSL. And the ECSL is supposed to be an independent body, right? An independent body conducting elections in Sierra Leone. So there are some certain...
And they will tell you they are independent as far as they are concerned.
No. Based on these allegations, I'm not talking about the APC allegation or the SLPP allegation. When you combine both accusations, it clearly shows that the ECSL is being puppeted always by the party in power. Right? Because the issue of 2007 and 2012 and the issue of 2023, it clearly shows that the ECSL is being used by the party in power to achieve electoral injustice. So the tripartite committee tend to uncover, because when you say examine, it's synonymous to investigation. To unravel some of these electoral irregularities, not only in 2023 elections. But the reports are out. What we are the findings? What we are the findings that, oh yes, this did happen, no, this didn't happen. And the past electoral commissioners were invited by the committee, right? So some of these claims should have been put forward to them. So, yes, if for example, there was a widespread of accusation that the election results he announced surpasses 100%. You invited him. He did come. So he should have been in a position to validate that claim or to dismiss that claim. So the problem we are having, even with this 80 recommendation, if we don't try to sanitize the ECSL, right? Let's put politics aside, because let me take you back to the TRC report, right? Some of the causes of the 11-year civil war has to do with some of these state institutions being puppeted by politicians. And we don't want to go back to those awful days. Sierra Leone is a progressive country. We want to achieve progress. We don't want to go back from where we came from. So it is in the interest, because this cabinet committee, we are talking about the government, the APC, and the international community, right? So I believe that they should have also shed light on the accountability aspect, because even the US ambassador, right, is interviewed at the AYV. He clearly stated that the recommendations will be in twofold. He said one has to do with electoral reforms, yes, which we are the 80, and the other has to do with accountability. But we didn't see anything like that.
Holding into account those found culpable
We have 80 recommendations. We didn't see anything like that. And he earlier advised us not to preempt. He preempted, and I don't want to say he got it wrong because I don't know the rationale behind it. But we didn't see what he predicted.
Okay.
So it's kind of unfortunate.
The program is the top stories on Rise Radio 96.3 FM. It's quite crucial that we have to spend much more time on this story. I saw the BW Bokari actually jotting down some points whilst you guys we are talking on this same issue. So I'll have to go back to him. Let's hear from him just quickly before we go to another story. Remember, you can actually send us a text message to the number 0779639663. Equally, you can drop us a comment or two on our Facebook channel or Facebook page at RiseRadiosl 96.3 FM. Yes, BW Bokari, let me hear your thoughts quickly, running off now on this issue about
we are still circumventing the issue, one main issue, rerun. I want to categorically say here, I'm not in a position, I'm not making a policy statement, but as far as I know, the outcome of the tripartite, the mandate of the tripartite, there is no rerun. The whole problem we have here in this country at the moment is what I call, in quote, intellectual dishonesty. We've learned all the books. We think we are educated, but there is something we always fail to do, sometimes deliberately. That is telling the people, the layman down there, my grandmother in Kurubola, the truth. Otherwise, we will not be meandering here at this moment as to whether there should be rerun or no rerun. All these preambles in Dr. Samura's speech is just focused on one thing, a rerun. Right? How can that be? That is an unrealistic demand, that I will say here. For ECOWAS to come and conduct our election, that's one I don't think it will be possible. And I'm not sure it will be. Then, my brother was making reference to other recommendations that should have been in the 80 but are not there. I want to briefly go over the 9 preambles on the mandate of the tripartite committee. Among the 9 preambles, I have 3 here I want us all to look at, maybe 2. The number 3, that is the 3rd preamble. It reads, noting that the laws of the Republic of Sierra Leone, especially the Constitution of Sierra Leone, Act 6, 1991, are sacrosanct. Noting that no individual or candidate who participated in the 24th June 2023 elections challenged the gazetted results dated 20th July 2023 in court. In other words, whilst you are going with your activities, make sure you don't contravene any portion of Sierra Leone's constitution. Also take note that after the elections, until the time the election results were gazetted, nobody contested this in the courts. So, it's only the courts that really has the right.
And that's because, according to the opposition, they do not trust the courts.
Well, that is it. Well, that's what I'm saying. In fact, that's why, that's another crucial moment. If we all say we don't believe in the institutions, I think what we should be doing is we make proposals, make suggestions, like it's been done now in the 80. Well, if we all go through, I am sure our brothers have not gone through. Maybe they have gone through certain aspects of the 80 recommendations. They are all concerned. Concerning all the things you have raised here. For instance, the issue about ECSL. There is now when you read recommendation 36, if you go back, we are not talking about setting up a searching and appointment committee, right? To look at those who will be appointed to work
As
at the electoral,
commissioners.
commissioners, the electoral commission, right? That is key to ensure that our results or our elections meet international best practices, and it will be described as free, fair, and credible. We have all accepted that there had been mistakes all along the lines. His Excellency himself, otherwise he couldn't have mentioned setting up a committee to look at past elections and come up with recommendations. And besides, the mandate did not say go and look at elections and make recommendations for rerun. The key word there is recommendations for reforms of all the institutions concerned. Key among those institutions, the ECSL.
Okay, Fude, I have to come back to you and perhaps even Bobodini.
Yes.
I'm pretty
If
much,
you
this
could have-
appears to be...
Yes.
I don't know. You really give them more time.
No,
I think
have mentioned
I think
series
you-
of
you-
concerns I really
you-
wanted to address.
You've had your bites.
I think I started
you
off...
had more, but okay, okay.
I started off
Right,
with you.
okay,
We are
all
just
right,
responding
okay.
to some of the
All
things
right,
they
okay,
talked about.
exactly.
But if time,
Yes.
if need be, I'll come
No
back to you
problem, no
possibly.
problem. Okay.
Yes, Fude.
Yes, the issue about rerun or no rerun, I keep saying this, that there is nobody or no committee that has the right to say we are going to rerun these elections, because it's only the Supreme Court that has the power to say an election is going to be rerun again. So the aspect about rerun is something that we've forgotten about that since the end of the elections. And so let's look at the aspect about the aspect you mentioned about the opposition saying they don't trust our judiciary, they don't trust the court system. That is why they don't go to court. That is very, very key. These are some things that we need to address.
This is exactly where I wanted,
And
I
who
wanted
set
to
up
bring
the
you
courts,
in,
man?
because
Wait,
it appears
who set up the courts?
it appears our national institutions are gradually, if not mostly, have lost their trust, public trust. I mean,
I even disagree with that.
I mean,
Not totally.
You talk about the judiciary, the police, as even the parliament, talk less of ECSL and others. The public trust there is almost not in any way it's not there almost.
There is just say, and when you look at these institutions and you look at the trust that people have for them, it has going down the drain. There is nothing to write home about when it comes to how people trust these institutions. And you know why? It's because they are no longer independent, and those institutions supposed to be independent. They're supposed to work for the interests of this country.
So what
but
do we
just
do?
like what Bobo was saying, that those institutions now have been used by politicians to actually have their way through. So
And most times the incumbent party or government enjoy those institutions.
and this is why I keep saying, now when you look at recommendation 36, just like what he's saying, that is now recommending for us to have a short committee that will appoint the chief electoral officer and other commissioners in the ECSL. This also we've also been calling. There are key institutions in this country that the appointment of the heads of those institutions should be removed from the presidency, because, and this includes the judiciary is very key. And now if you look at the recommendations of the tripartite committee has given now more power to the judiciary when it comes to electoral process in this country, because they will tell you that as part of the recommendations, if the ECSL pronounce and declares a winner, that particular data or result is going to be submitted to the Chief Justice, and they are going to look at it, and there is going to be a time frame. From there, he is going to ascertain, yes, that okay, this result is confirmed and everything and all. So it tells you now that the judiciary now has a very, very great role to play. So that is to say, we need an independent judiciary that will not take us back to where we are today. Because if we do not have an independent judiciary, we will result again at the same place where we are today, talking about elections that are credible or not credible, or talking about forming a unity agreement or tripartite committee. So we have those institutions, the judiciary, they must be independent. We must have another mechanism wherein the chief justice is going to be appointed and removed from the presidency. The Sierra Leone police, the IG of police, we had instances of this country where people are saying that the police, they are not independent, and even as part of the tripartite recommendation, they are saying that members of the security forces should be non-partisan, and for them not to be non-partisan, we should remove the appointment of the IG from the presidency. And you go to the ACC commissioner. We had instances in this country where people saying there is a lot of corruption going on, and the ACC just focusing on people from the opposition or people who are not in office of trust. Look at all those people.
An allegation the ACC keeps denying.
Yes, look at, okay, well, yeah, they keep denying it, but look at all the people that have gone through a investigation, from Paran, from Kaikai, and all of those people who are members of the government. They are all being exonerated by the ACC. All of them being exonerated by the ACC.
That's based on their evidence, as we are told.
Well, why you don't also do those thorough investigation for other people who are
Okay.
I hope we don't move from Samara's speech.
So yes, no, we are not moving.
Because these are allegations we are making here.
We are just saying.
We are looking at yes.
We are just saying we are looking at independence of all of those institutions.
Exactly.
And that is why I am mentioning.
Exactly.
So the ACC commissioner should be removed. And his appointment should be removed from the presidency. So we have institutions who work for the interest of this country. Let me tell you, the problem we have in this country is not the people, it's not leadership, it's our institutions. Our institutions in this country, they are not truthful and they are not independent. It's only when we have independent institutions in this country, we'll not be talking about what we are talking about, the ECSL, that the ECSL is actually working for the interests of the government of the day and not the people. So we need to ensure that our institutions are independent, and this is crucial. So the only way they can be independent, I keep saying this, let the appointment of the heads of those institutions be removed from the presidency, and let's have a private body or even parliament. Although yes, again, there are issues again with parliament, because this is the only parliament you go when somebody is appointed by the president. Even you go through parliament, they'll just say, we are happy for this person, you've been appointed, go and serve the people, go and work. We don't have any mechanism where individuals that are presidential appointees are being scrutinized to actually have the competent one to occupy those
like my boss would say, the issues are many. So, but let me hear from you, Bobodin. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty much saying that our national institutions, who ought to be independent, have actually, been behaving otherwise. I mean, much to the lack of trust, public trust in them now.
Yes. So
what do we do? Bokari was asking.
So the lack of public confidence or trust, right, in the ECSL, gave back to the tripartite committee, because this is something simple. The APC challenged the result published by ECSL. Fine. The ECSL commissioner in their last press conference, right? One of the commissioners clearly stated that yes, we have the disaggregated result, yes, but we will not publish it because the APC failed to contest the result in court. So, for peace to reign, why can't you just publish this disaggregated result?
How are we sure? How are we sure? Even if the results were contested in court, they would have published the disaggregated. Because for them, they did say there is no law that mandate them to publish the results. As much as Fode was also saying, there is also no law that stopped them from publishing it.
That was his claim. I think they not an commissioner. That was his claim. That yes, we have the results, but we will not publish it because the APC failed to contest it in court. Right? So, this clearly stated that there is something fishy, there is something, there is a cause for concern. Because it's needless for us to set up the tripartite committee. Because when the people ask for the disaggregated result, yes, here is the result. Transparency is fine if you have nothing to hide. But the deliberate action, the deliberate action to prevent the public from having a view of this result, it's a cause for concern. And the issue of a rerun election, it has been addressed that, yes, we will not have any rerun. So, for the same peace to prevail, as stated in the Agreement for National Unity, the ECSL ought to have presented this disaggregated result to the tripartite committee, and from there they will take actions, or they will make recommendations moving forward. But you can't hold on to this result, and mind you, it's over a year now. We are still talking about June 2023 election. And few months back, now we have the by-election, right? The by-election is also another issue.
We'll certainly reach there before we close the
Now,
program.
this is conducting an AGM, and that other party is conducting an AGM. So where are we heading for? So this clearly sends a strong signal that some of these institutions need to be reformed.
Okay, listener, you are listening to the top stories on Rise Radio 96.3 FM. We are looking at some major stories that did make the headlines in the news in Sierra Leone. I am Musa Baisise. My analyst or reviewer on the program this morning, I have Bobo Wilson Bokari, popularly known as PW Bokari, managing editor for Unity newspaper. I have Ambassador Fode Moriba Conte, journalist and youth activist, but also Bobodin Kamara, a journalist and media analyst. It's your time now. If you want to call and have your say on the program, the number is 0779639630, 0779639630. Before we go to another story, really. And as well, I can actually pick your messages. And a message here coming now says, good morning, Rise Radio. As for me, I will never vote in this country again. Okay, someone is calling, so let's see. I'll go back to that message quickly. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Rise Radio.
Correct. Your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Mambu. I'm calling from Ashaka.
Okay.
Yeah. Something came up in the studio just now from one of your colleagues. Says, if I had presented to us the result that was over 100%. For a layman, it was more than 100%, but for a mathematician, it was not more than 100%. If I had presented to us 100.005%,
Okay.
and in mathematics concept, any figure behind the decimal point is insignificant figure, so we can't count it. So because of that 0.005 after the decimal point should not be counted. So it was 100%. We should put this clear for people to understand, because it has been going around this country for quite a long time, and see people are talking about it. It was 100.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you for adding your thoughts on the program. The number is 077-963-963, 077-963-963. You can call us now and have your say. We were actually looking at, we've actually spent almost all of the time talking about Dr. Samura's statements, just after the report. But I mean, it's good we talk about that long. But this message is saying, good morning, Rise Radio. As for me, I will never vote again in this country because the democracy in this country, fake. It's fake. I mean, another call is coming in. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Rise Radio. Where are you calling from? What's your name, please?
Alhamdulillah, I call from Wallington.
Okay.
Well, the program we discussed, but now we get chance for talk small. We didn't want them. What's in the ground, I can tell you now about the push business.
All right, thank you. Sorry, we're not going to talk about that right now. Thank you very much. The number is 077-963-963. So this message really continues that I will not vote again in this country because it's coming from Mendo. Yes, Mendo from Moyamba districts. It says poor democracy is in our country, never. All right, so let's go back and talk to this person. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Fine.
I have to make contribution to the program, but I want to talk English. So
Yes, go on. It's fine. What's your name? Who's I call from? Yeah.
Me and Mr. Glenn Rokel can't recall.
Okay.
The program you see this morning, I tell you thank you. I guess hear you.
Thank you.
But I don't want to let this program they will turn out to crew for make we the layman them don't understand what I talk about. Because now we really see, but not all the English word will catch. So I'll talk this for a good direct to the management and staffs. I get you. For let look into for make we really want to talk English and English for make we understand what I talk. So that's what I want to say, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We don't listen, and we will still mind you good about that. The number is 077-963-963. You can call on message us on that number now and have your thoughts added to the program. The top stories on Rise Radio 96.3 FM. I am Musa by Sise. I still have my reviewers on the program. I have Ambassador Fulimoriba Conte, a journalist and youth activist, and equally I have Bobo Wilson Bokari, BW Bokari, otherwise known. He's the managing editor, Unity Newspaper, and Bobodan Kamara. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes.
My contribution on the grounds on the legality of the tripartite committee. And the tripartite committee is not legal, and the grounds where the DCSL tried for put for is section 15 of the Right to Information Act. So the argument where ABC for Canvas is that section 12 and section 13 of that particular act, because section 13 they say you for explain why that particular information they exempt, and section 12.
I think it was that call there. It's bad. The reference, it was referencing the Right to Access Act 2020, Right to Access Information Act 2013 rather. The number is 07. I think we can just take a call more and then we go back to the panelists here. We still have a couple of more stories more to go through. But I think one story really we should not let go is the bar story. Really, we'll have to check in that before we go. The number is 077963 963. You can call and message us as well on that same number. This one says, good morning, thank you very much. I am enjoying the program, but my concern is please, for sake of peace, let APC forget about everything and let's focus on 2028 elections. It's coming from Alfred at King Tom. All right, thank you very much. Let's see. Okay, so we cannot take more messages, but you can call us. Still just need one call and then we end it up here and go for more analysis from our analysts here. The program is the top stories on Rise Radio 96.3 FM. We are looking at some major stories of the week as published in the print media, but also those in public domain at some point. I think we also had the news, was it late evening yesterday or even at night, that the security forces intercepted some, material meant to making bombs. That's kind of scary. But then, so 7 people so far we know they've been arrested regarding that. But then, let's come back. I think we cannot pick more calls any longer because of time. Let's come back. We still have to run through a few more stories. So, I don't know where to go now. I'm tempted to move to another story, but also the issues are still around these same things we've talked about. Yes, Bokari.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. My colleagues have brought up 2 expressions here. And one is the lack of public trust. It's an expression that is relative. It depends on whom you talk to.
Okay.
Right? So we really need to know which public we are talking about. The Israeli and public, well, there are 2 sectors of it. It depends on whom you will meet. No, honestly, let's be realistic. Let's be honest with ourselves. If you can't go into an opposition camp and ask questions and expect good. That's the reality on the ground here. So it depends on whom you are meeting, talking about public trust. This same trust you are talking about was the same trust, the concerns raised by the SLPP in opposition. So we agree, right? And that's the reason why the government is ready to implement the recommendations. But these recommendations are gearing towards, a total, if not total, or maybe partial or 80%, restructuring of some of these institutions. They've even made mention on that. 14 of the institutions that require regulation framework include ONS, SLP, ECSL, and all the others you are mentioning. So these tripartite committee recommendations are very key. We must all come together. Then the other expression, this word disaggregated data. This is a strange word in our electoral, in electoral terms these days. We need to really explain what we mean by disaggregated data. It's only coming in now, as far as I know. We never heard about disaggregated data because they are expressing this over and over. It did not even come up within the word. There's no argument about that. It depends on whom you. Yeah, well, if it's a breakdown, okay, fine.
The breakdown of data by police station.
Exactly.
That is what it meant by disaggregated data.
The 2022 public elections are.
I hope. I think. I don't know if. I hope we're having an intellectual debate here.
Exactly. So, gentlemen,
I have allowed you to talk. Yeah, I have allowed you to talk. You are using these big terms.
No, you
We
were asking.
need to-
You were
yeah, that's
asking
what I'm
what,
saying.
what is meant by disaggregated. Yes.
We've had this.
There are
word
people. If I
for a
listen,
very
listen,
long
my
time.
brother.
So it's not
No.
something that is new.
With regards what
It's
is happening
not new.
currently, I mean, you are just making a big hype on this disaggregated
But
data,
it's not
but lack
new.
of public trust and all the rest. I hope you would have
We're in
really
this
allowed me
country
to make my
when we
point
have the
because
EU
I am
observer
I am
elections
sure
mission.
you were
When
even
they
the
came
international
back- No, I'm
community
coming
you are
to-
making reference to.
When they came
I think
back,
I have the
as part
I have
of
the
their
table.
reports, as
I
part
have the
of
right
their
to talk
reports,
for
they
now.
said
You were talking. I
institutions-
never
For the-
interrupted.
let's
Please.
give- let-
I mean,
let's-
let us be
For
civil.
the, let's give him a
Let us be
let's give him
civil
some
in
time.
our
You
discussions,
come back
please.
to him.
Let
You
us
come
be
back-
civil.
You come back to him, please.
I'm
Yes.
sure we are not advocating for any political party here. I agree.
We should not be because we are
That's
looking
what
at
I'm saying.
we are looking at national
I am
issues
looking at
and
things.
the way
that-
forward in
never
solving
mind,
these
I am
issues.
editor of the Sierra Leone People's Party newspaper, but I'm looking at things from a nationalistic point of view. All right? What we are saying, honestly, the statement, I am disappointed with the statement, and several other people are disappointed with the statement made by Dr. Samura for various reasons. Why? One of the reasons
One,
is that.
because you are the editor of the SLPP newspaper.
No.
as you mentioned.
Because I've even told people that each time I go to the radio, I don't go there because I cannot make a policy statement of the party. I am not the official, spokesperson of the party. I am not making a policy statement on behalf of the government. I am looking at things as they appear, as they happen. You understand? Okay? Now, the same international community we are making reference to, we are the same international community represented on the tripartite committee. So where is this question coming from, calling from for a rerun? That's the other thing. Those questions should be answered as we go along. But the bottom line is, what I see, I have never seen or read or heard any statement from government that is negative towards the implementation of the government. His Excellency has made it publicly that the government is ready to fully implement the tripartite recommendations. Okay. Taking note of the role played by the APC. He is even commended representative of the APC. So we are also expecting that whatever statement that is coming from the wing, from the APC wing, should be mild, should not be full of suspicion, apprehensions, and incitement.
Okay. It's 10 o'clock already. It appears, and it is indeed obvious that we add in some few more minutes related to this conversation because we still have a few more things to do. So I want to beg you guys to move on to another story. Let's let that go now.
Yes.
I mean, we'll be talking about this for the last 1 hour now. So let's really move on now.
And we allow others to talk without interruptions.
Yes, I mean, things happen like that in platforms like this at times.
Okay, no problem. But the civil discussions, and you have to allow others to hit the point.
So quickly,
you should have waited
let's
to be
move
allowed
on
the
to
time to answer.
Let's move on to the story on the satellite newspaper's publication of the 10th of July, and it says President Bill fires suspended Auditor General. This is one of the news that actually made the headlines in the country this week. I mean, the Auditor General and Deputy were suspended in 2021. I think 2021 or so. I mean, yes, and so they set up eventually. I mean, they were suspended, and the government set up a tribunal, and then the tribunal actually did its work, and the report was submitted to the president. And just this week, we had the president has accepted the recommendations, and one of the recommendations is that of the removal of the Auditor General and as well as the deputy. Fode Moriba, I mean, let me hear your thoughts around this. This all started somehow very much confusing when it all started in 2021 when they were suspended in the first place.
Yes, it all started in 2021 when they were suspended, and there were a lot of civil society organizations, even international organizations, said it was not done as per the laws of this country. Her suspension, and that of the deputy, that it was not done in accordance with the law. So we saw where she was suspended and a deputy, and that there were some issues that around professionalism and all. So they were suspended. And from 2021, the tribunal was formed again, and a few weeks ago, they've completed and they've presented the reports to His Excellency the President as mandated by the Constitution of Sierra Leone, that once the tribunal completed their work, the report should be submitted to the President. So although we've also had issues about the lawyers representing the Auditor General, that they, as we speak, they don't even have a copy of this particular report.
Yes, I think I also saw that statement from the Deputy Auditor General, Tamba Momo.
And Tamba Momo also, we've also seen his response a few days ago. he made some response towards the press statements that was published by the press secretary, and saying they have not seen the report, what is in there, they don't know what are the recommendations, and they don't know. The only thing that they know as part of the recommendation is calling for their removal. But for the Deputy Auditor General, because the President does not have the rights to remove him from his office, so he has asked the board of the audit service alone to actually handle that particular aspect, and whilst he has accepted for the removal of the Auditor General, suspended Auditor General.
And
But
in his
there's a
response
caveat.
for he was also saying that his lawyers did make an objection that his matter was to be dealt with by the audit service instead of the tribunal, and they refused, and now they are referring the same audit service to take charge of his removal.
Yes, on Tuesday, the one of the legal prosecution was at the weekly press briefing of the Minister of Information, and he was also asked that question. So, and what he said, that why he was actually included in the tribunal, it's because of the time he spent as Auditor General. So, which means acting Auditor General. So that is why he was actually included in the process of itself, because just like what he said, he should have been handled by the audit service, and that is what he's saying now. So now let's look at what has happened now. The president has accepted, and that is he has fulfilled section 137(7)(a) of the 1991 Constitution, that says after the report is being completed, it should be handed over to the president, and the president should actually accept the recommendation. So now we are looking at the B now, the B part of it, section 137(7)(b) of the 1991 Constitution, that says now what's left now is 2/3 of majority of parliament should actually vote for her removal. So now it hangs now, her faith hangs in parliament, because let's see, can the SLPP be able to have the 2/3 majority in parliament to actually remove her out of office permanently? Because this is what the constitution is saying, that if you want to remove her from office, you must have 2/3 of the majority in parliament. And I was asking myself that, and I've also tried to ask learned colleague that, does the constitution make provision for a single majority in an instance wherein they do not have the 2/3 majority in parliament? Because we saw when it was the election for the speaker of parliament, they as per the constitution, 2/3 of majority, but they were unable to have the 2/3. They went to vote, and they voted I think 3 times, and because they do not have the 2/3 majority, they had to go for single majority, of which he was Secretary Thomas was elected as the Speaker of Parliament. But in this case, I have not seen a clause in the Constitution that actually make provision for a single majority to say, if for instance we go for the voting process in parliament for her to be removed, and we cannot have the 2/3 majority in parliament after first voting, second voting, third voting, are we going for a single majority? But what I was able to learn out of it is that to say, if the other party is saying no, we are not going to remove her, it means they should also have 2/3 majority to say no, she is not going to be removed from our office.
Okay.
So, and if government is saying that they want to remove her, so they must also have 2/3 majority. So I was asking myself, in an instance where those that are saying she should not be removed don't have 2/3 majority, and those that are saying she should be removed, they don't have 2/3 majority, what will be the Auditor General?
All right, his name is Fode Moriba Conte. I'll go back to Bobodin now. I mean, Bobodin, you've been quiet for some time, but we are looking at the suspended Auditor General and then the deputy, and the recommendations of the tribunal has been submitted to the president, and he has accepted them. One of which has to do with removal of both of them procedurally, and the matter is, the next step now is to go to parliament and see whether the parliament would actually approve their removal. How sure do you think it's not going to be just a matter of done and dusted in parliament? Because like what was saying, when once the president makes appointments, for instance, it's like just an endorsement now by parliament. Are we seeing any possibility of overturning, the president's stand or acceptance of recommendation of them being removed?
Well, hopefully. First of all, I want to shed light on the allegations levied against the suspended Auditor General and her deputy. right, which revolve around misconduct and lack of professionalism, right? So it's still unclear, right, what resulted to misconduct or professionalism, that cost her a job. Because mind you, she and her deputy, they have served that audit service with integrity for decades, right? So when
How are you sure they were doing their job with integrity?
well, the deputy categorically stated it in his letter.
And that's from
that
him.
was published. Now, what I'm saying here is that he was hired by government of Sierra Leone, right, to audit the Ebola fund, the corona, to name but a few. So that portrays that these are people of integrity, right? He didn't appoint himself, but he was appointed by the government. And the suspended auditor general lawyers are of the opinion that the objections that they have made has been thrown out. They said they have made series of objections, and the lawyers representing the state are of the opinion that no, they should focus first, because they went to court. They should focus first on their claim. After everything is completed, then they can look at the objection. And the tribunal spent quite a long time in determining the fate of this of the suspended auditor general. We were expecting this to be completed in 3 months. We spent 2.5 years in the
And the director of public prosecution said that's because there were objections, and so there were steps they needed to have actually complete.
No. Justice delayed, justice denied. Right? He clearly stated that the objection made by the lawyers of the suspended auditor generals we are not looked into. Reason being is that they want to focus on the claims that they put across. Once everything is completed, then they can look at the objection, which is wrong. And now the same report will be tabled to Parliament. The general public, including the suspended auditor general, haven't got a view of it. We don't know what is in the report.
Okay.
Right? I'm coming. The release from State House just stated that among other recommendations, right, one of such is for the case to be forwarded to Parliament, and for the deputy, for the board to take for the board, they were directed for the board to remove the deputy. Right? So they are looking at the rudiment for the board to ensure, not to debate on the issue, to ensure that they remove the deputy, which is undone. And
okay.
This has to do with now the public trust of these are parliamentarians, because set critical issue, you don't have to come from party line, right? You should use your conscience to know whether you have to vote out one of the few trusted public servants that we have in Sierra Leone.
Okay.
All in the name of
let me come back to you on the final issue, the bar association issue. That's what we're wrapping up with. But quickly, BW Bokari, I'm actually, we are managing our time now.
Yeah, really. You see,
we can just have
I don't really want to dilate more on that because they've said maybe 80% of it. What I will only emphasize here is that Sierra Leone, that's the beauty of our democracy. Opinions, divergent opinions. But I want to crave the indulgence of my colleagues here. Let them lower their temper, because the Sierra Leone situation is all unique. When you talk about arguments for and against in the courts, thank God I'm not a lawyer. You understand? But the good thing here is the president believes in the rule of law. Recommendations were made to him. He said no. Attorney General, you do this and this. And like you said, somebody representing the state in the press conference the other day said, one, that the inquiry took a long time because, the tribunal took a long time because it's an inquiry process. And normally inquiries take a long time. You've partly supported that one. And even out of that inquiry, the recommendations cannot be just carried out like that. They have to be taken to parliament. And that is what the president has just said. So it's now left with our fighting, talking about two-third majority and all the rest. Let it go to parliament. Anything else could happen.
Okay.
I just appeal to Sierra Leoneans, let's have trust in our institutions. If we want to make changes, we're all making references here. Whatever we say here, we are making references to the constitution.
For Sierra Leoneans to have trust in the institutions, they should make themselves trustable.
Well, that is it again, because sometimes we'll talk and talk and talk. Maybe if you put me there, I'll do the worst, So how do we really manage these institutions? I think the tripartite has even made provisions for, constitutional amendments. You understand? Like I told you, I gave you a brief summary of certain aspects of the recommendation that need, debates in parliament, some that need referendum and all the rest. So we are making moves towards the constitution again. All what we're arguing here, the basis here is, reference here is being made to the constitution. And incidentally, also, the constitutional review committee or commission is going on. So when all these things happen, I am sure we are going to have a beautiful Sierra Leone in the future. Let us be optimistic.
2 minutes each now. I must time with us now here. Let's look at what happened with the Sierra Leone police. Blocking the entrance of the New Brookfield Hotel, the barring the extraordinary general meeting of the Sierra Leone Bar Association, where some members actually did call for that. And then for some reasons, we saw so many police there, not just police, but well-armed police, and then the AGM did not hold it. It was supposed to be held, although they did hold it at some points, coming up with some resolutions based on. But let's look at this here. These are legal-minded people we're talking about. It all started, of course, by the way, from Kenema after their AGM and all of that. So, but the way forward here is, as a country, as a people, and for people like us, always look at what could be done really to ensure these things, because say what you may, these things are not good for the good image of our country. They damage the image of our country. Talk less of those who are involved in it. So, but let's look at this as nationalistic as possible. Let me start with you, but then I'm coming this way now to end of my show. So, Bobodan Camara, you followed religiously what happened, at the Brookfield Hotel. Was it on Thursday? I'm sure, yes, on Thursday. So, what comes to mind first when it happened in Kenema and here and there, and now at Brookfield Hotel? But more importantly, we saw also a response from the management of the Brookfield Hotel, for instance, that they had no reason not to allow the EGM to go on. And a lot of things happen, but where is this taking us?
Well, this all emanated from the AGM in Kenema, right? Because there were a series of allegations of electoral fraud.
Again, we come to elections.
Yes, so you see, the problem we're having in this country is elections, right? Which has to do with public trust and integrity in the person conducting this election. Because when you assume office or when you act in the capacity of electoral commissioner, right, you should discredit any iota of doubt in your neutrality. Right? About a day to the election, we saw on social media video of Madam Gento and the anti-corruption commissioner dancing. So it might just be dancing, but it sends a negative picture to the general public as to how impartial or as to how neutral it will be in the conduct of the elections. Right? And fast forward from Kenema, we had all these allegations, including the one of the contestants accusing the ACC boss of electoral fraud. So these people came together, they tried to see how best they can address some of the issues they ought to have addressed in Kenema. So I believe that they should have given them the safe space to conduct their EGM and see whatever recommendation will come out from it, instead of high military or OSD personnel barricading the entrance of the New Brookfield Hotel. And even the management of the hotel clearly stated that they have no reason to cancel the EGM because they didn't receive any court injunction.
Okay.
Right? So the bottom line here, or the thing that I want to achieve here is that it's high time we try to sanitize our electoral space. Right? So for some of these issues, for us to forget about it. Elections are over. We spent an hour or more talking about 2023 elections. And now we are over time talking about the by-election. And more elections are coming. If some of these issues are not addressed, we'll keep on having more tripartite committee, which is undone.
Okay, I'm not sure I'll come back to it, but let me go back to Fode now. Fode, just your thoughts now on what's happened regarding the Bar Association's EGM, extraordinary, general meeting following the elections in Kenema, sometimes in May.
Yes, when Bobo was saying we'll have tripartite, so is he saying we are going to have another tripartite for the past election? But I think we are not going to reach at that point wherein we are going to say let's have another tripartite for the EGM. Mm-hmm. But what happened in Kenema? It was really not good for our democracy in this country. And this is because we keep saying that the politics has eaten in the fabric of our country. It has eaten all aspects of our country. You talk about national elections in it. We all know that when the campaign period started, here the Chuma Gentle Tabi was saying, I'm an APC, SLPP member, because I was part of our press conference at the New Big Hotel. She made it very clear. A question was posed to her, and she was not even afraid. She said, yes, I am a member of the Sierra Leone People's Party. Mm-hmm. And at that time, she was contesting for the Bar Association presidency. And we also had Wara, making it a clear statement that my predecessors, my grandfather, they are members of the APC.
So I'm an APC.
So I'm an APC. So this is what we want to say now. We've seen that for every aspect you go, you see APC and SLPP. Even now, Bikada Association election, APC SLPP. Market Women Association election, APC SLPP. University election, APC SLPP. And so this is bad. It's completely bad. And this is something that we actually need to address. We should remove national politics from all of those things. And that is what has resulted to what we are today when we talk about the Bar Association. Because we saw in Kenema where the person who was in charge, Ben Kefala, was actually sharing on video, was sharing ballot papers to people to cast their vote. He was sharing it as how you share a granite to children who do come around you, then you are giving them sweets. And that is not good. So it's all eliminated from that particular point. From that point, they said the election was not credible. So because the election was not credible, and they say we are not going to accept the outcome of this result. Okay, so we now have a division in the Bar Association. So we now have a divided Bar Association. You have the Juma Gentle Jabi own camp, and you now have Sarah Kamal and Augustine Mara. And a few days ago, they had their AGM. And let me just read through what happened in the AGM. In the AGM, they had key resolutions that they were actually addressed. One was for the removal of the executive or swallow and the establishment of a caretaker board. And so one of the resolutions that was passed in that particular place, and I was there. I was there. Even though one of the security officers sprayed pepper spray, but we were able to actually.
But I think just before we go further, ending off on that, I also want to commend the security personnel on that day. As much as the place was tensed, but I think they managed to also ensure that nothing bad happens.
Yes, they were there, but also you look at it. Do they have the right to be there? Is it on which basis are they there? On which commands? Because when you ask them, they will say, we are being instructed to come here and man this place. So why? Because as per the institution, even the Bufis Hotel,
we are there to man the institution or the place, or we are there to stop certain set of people not to enter.
They were there to man the place to stop the lawyers not to hold their EGM. So they were actually stopped not to even have access to the Newbie Fields Hotel. And they were there very early in the morning. You know, I think even a day before the EGM, there were security presence in that particular place. And so it also sent a signal for our institution in this country, and private sector, people who want to come and invest. At that particular day, the people who used to go to Newbie Fields Hotel to have their lunch, to actually eat, to lodge in their hotel, all of these they don't have access to it. So it also has a negative implication when it comes to people who want to come to invest in this particular country. So the resolutions, one, they've actually removed the executive of Swallow, and they've established a caretaker that controls 5 lawyers with over 15 years of experience in the bar, and they includes E. Shiraz Moses Esquire, Noah N. Kamara Esquire, Elvis Kagbo Esquire, Basita Michael Esquire, and Rhoda Kagbo Esquire. So these are the caretaker committee that they've actually established, and that the second resolution was that this caretaker committee will actually take them to an AGM. So which means they are also planning to have another AGM for the 2023, where maybe they are going to conduct again another fresh elections again, as what they are saying. And yesterday we saw where the Chief Justice, the Attorney General and Chief Justice actually called them into a meeting. There was a meeting was held yesterday between Wahaseri, Augustine Mara, and Tuma Gentry was also in attendance. And as per the meeting, because after the meeting yesterday again, they also updated the public as to the outcome of the meeting. And the outcome was that they've actually informed the Attorney General that we now have a caretaker committee that will actually look at these particular issues. That what they are now, they are going to determine when the bar situation will also go for another EGM, another AGM. Okay. So I think for now the bar situation is divided. And I was saying, are we going to have a divided bar situation? Because that is what we are foreseeing currently. Because if the issues are not addressed, and they've said it that they are lawyers, so they are not going to ensure that whatever thing is being done that is not done according to the law, they are going to actually do it. But other concerns again are saying, why didn't they go to court? Because as far as I'm concerned, they don't have any matter to court. Because even the Tuma Gentry Tabi camp, they too again, they've never taken any matter to court, because if there should be any matter to court, they should just use that case to pass an injunction for the EGM for call up the EGM. But we I think that has not happened. So what we are saying, the issues in this country about politics, it's serious, and we need to move national politics from all of those things. If we do not move it from those things, then we keep having issues of division, issues of divided cities continue to happen.
All right, Fode, thank you very much. And running off now, BW Bokar, we have barely the next 3 minutes really now.
Just 3 minutes, eh?
Exactly.
All right.
Including my parting statements.
Yes, because I know my colleagues here have spent more than 3 minutes each. But anyway, I'm going to be very brief. Dancing of Tuma and Ben Kefala is not a justification, cannot be used.
But can be suspicious.
Yeah, it can be suspicious. You will begin to ask, when was this dance? Where was it? Right? I don't really want to go into the nitty-gritty of their business, because they are lawyers, they have a company act, they know. The other question here I will ask, the presence of the Wara and Suri Sengbe Mara, their EGM, was it legal? That's a question I cannot answer. It was answered by the lawyers themselves, okay? Thirdly, police presence. I am not the devil's advocate, but I think the police did a very good job that day. Assuming the Tuma Jabi team had also gone there physically to say, no, it's going to happen, whom would you call? So that was a prayer. I mean, that was something done. I believe the police, and I understand. Well, talking about pepper spray, I was in Parliament when pepper spray was also used, and I know the parliamentarian who used that one. I will not name his name here. I will not name it here, right? So the issue about pepper spray and all the rest, you went there. Those are the things you expect in tense moments as a journalist in this country. All right, I'm glad that you were there. You are giving a very good report about that. But above it all, let us don't be hypocrites to our consciences. We all know the situation in this country. We should not be even laughing at the issues or institutions being politicized here. It is only being hyped now, but it has started long ago. It's only hyped now. So when we are talking about it now, let it not appear as if it is the current system that is even encouraging that one. We have to be really, really honest with ourselves. You see, so those are the few comments I have to make, because there are lots and lots of issues you have raised. If you had given me the opportunity, we could have spoken, but we've gone beyond the time
Exactly.
you've stated.
We'll
So
always
let's
come
have
back.
another moment.
We'll always
We'll
come
have
back
another
and talk.
moment to talk about that.
We'll always come
Quite
back and-
honestly, some of us have lived through all the elections in this country. All right, we've spoken so much. We've talked in opposition, and we are still talking. So my brothers here have only started. I will encourage you to continue talking,
Right.
so that we make sure we address the issues in this country collectively.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I think we'll always come back and talk more on other issues. Well, we still keep on keeping an eyes. Still keeping eyes and ears on these stories we've discussed so far. We're looking forward to what next week really has for us. Well, this is where exactly we draw the curtains down on today's edition of the program, The Top Stories, on Rise Radio 96.3 FM. We've been looking at some major stories of the week in Sierra Leone, published by newspapers in the country, but also those that are information in public domain. I have as my reviewers today Ambassador Fude Moriba Conte, journalist and youth activist, Bobo Wilson Bokari, PW Bokari, otherwise known. He is the managing editor for Unity newspaper, and equally Bobo Dan Kamara, a journalist and media analyst. Super thanks for being part of this edition of the program. Do join us again next week, same time, same day here on Rise Radio 96.3 FM for another edition of the Top Stories. Thanks to the team, executive producer Mariama Ba, David Aspin, Solomon Temu Bangura, John S. Kruma, and Moenina Brahma Kamara for their diverse contributions to the program. I have been Musa by Sise, producer and host of the show. Like always, it's always a pleasure talking to you from this platform. Keep listening to 96.3 FM. Coming up next at 11 is the children's program, Picking Corner, to be followed by the Rise Sports Special at 12. Have yourself a marvelous day. Goodbye.